So I decided to talk about this. This is a term that's mostly used as an insult, although some people claim it's not. The first time I ever heard it was when the UK drill scene started to get popular in like 2021, 2022. And that's when I first heard the term Jadir and Jarir. Specifically hearing someone say, "I'm Jarir Bantu," which would also be pronounced Yair Bantu. And of course, Bantu is Judah tribe. But then I also heard the term Jadir, and I was thinking, like, does this mean the same thing? Is this like different pronunciations of the same word? But in UK drill, it's kind of like the N-word, to be honest. Which, of course, the N-word comes from a mispronunciation of Niger or Niga, which means king. And that was the Hebrew dynasty, the Hebrew kingdoms in Negro land, or Niger. And then people talk about the Songhai dynasty, because that was one of the last good ones that people talk about. But yeah, so the way people use it in UK drills, they'll say, I don't know what word I can say, that's why I'm kind of like hopping around it, but unalive Jadir. And what Jadir means is hard-haired, or what people say in the US as an insult is nappy. But another term is 4C. But there's also the fact that, like, not all Hebrews have 4C hair, but I know Judah tribe, specifically most of us do, most Bantus do, which is a big part of why Bantus in Africa are called Jadir or Jair Bantus, because it literally means hard-haired. And so this also goes into how, like, in the US, you've been told this, you're just a quote-unquote black, or you're just a quote-unquote black African. Which is so funny, because as I talk about all the time, Africans and all other people, when they come to the US, they get labeled off as white on the US Census. The Africans, they're quote-unquote white. And people think I'm talking about a certain type of African. No, I'm not. I'm talking about the Africans. They're quote-unquote white. In fact, Hamites specifically, the really racist, I don't know what to call them, but the really racist Caucasians, or the ones that really believe in, like, the evolution stuff, one of the reasons that they liked Hamites more is because some of them had more similar features, because some of them came from those ones, but of course it's like people branched off from different types of Negroids. But as you may know, like Cushites and a lot of other Africans, they have straight hair, so like their Negroids with straight hair. But yeah, so you get told you're African, but you go there and they're calling you hard-haired, which is like the equivalent of how you would get called nappy here. So yeah, that's interesting. And like, when I would hear UK drill and they'd be talking about unaliving a Jadir, it's just like the way they were saying it, I knew it had to be some type of equivalent of the N-word. I knew it. And I just saw this and wanted to throw it in here. People should already know that these influencer kids that become famous and you don't really know who they are or where they came from, they're always in a bloodline family, rather a carbon-based melanated one or sulfur-based melanated one. And so, like, they get taken through trauma-based mind control. They're commonly in families that are already secretly rich anyways. And then they get programmed to, like, do certain things, be a certain way, push a certain agenda. And then they're given a mic and they're pushed to the forefront to push these certain agendas. And, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I probably haven't paid enough attention, but I can't necessarily tell what he's trying to push other than the whole fake white savior liberal type thing. But then again, he's supposed to be a conservative, like anti-feminist or anti-quote-unquote bad woman type one, which is really sexualizing him anyways, because like, I mean, he's only a teenager, but they have him making sexual comments about older women. And of course, it's very obvious that all this stuff is staged to make people mad, and like, the women are actors. Although people claim that they're OnlyFans models, quote unquote, and quote unquote porn stars, but I mean, why do people have a kid interviewing porn stars anyways? So it's like, the more you really think about it, you're not just looking at it from like a stupid political mindset on either side. You really see all the issues in these kid influencer situations. But yet people got LT Corbett kicked out of school and banned off of everything, literally everything, for telling the truth. And I mean, even with the racial side and her getting dragged into that stuff, it's very obvious that people are mad at her because of things that she said about other Caucasian Europeans, specifically the serpent seed ones. Also the fact that she would call out chomos. That's what people are mad about. Screw all the other stuff. Then they threatened to call CPS on her parents because people have never heard of a kid that can think for themselves, because really everybody's taught to be brainwashed forever, and most adults couldn't even think on that level. But people who are really obviously being forced to push narratives and they're being exploited and taken through trauma-based mind control aren't cared about. Nobody talks about doing anything to their parents. Not that CPS is a helpful organization anyways, because the Cash for Kids system is just going to traffic them, but it's like, society should step up to the plate and do something. He has managers. He's obviously in the bloodline. You never see his parents, don't know who they are. It reminds me of Candace Owens, because like, you can't figure out who Candace Owens' parents are. I believe she's AI. A lot of people say that Candace Owens is a dude. I mean, if the person is actually real and not AI, I'm sure they are a dude, but... And then she just so happens to have went to Harvard and married into the Serpent Seed bloodline. The royals, their family, all bullcrap. All bullcrap. Probably made in a lab. Anyways, back to this guy though. The reason why I accidentally said he gave a white savior liberal type vibe is because he does the usual free Palestine trope that people just say and have been saying for years. Like, I knew people that were saying it back in 2016, but like, I mean, nobody will talk about what was really being done to them, which is the same thing that they're doing to their own kids as well. But like, people are talking about the war, but I mean, they've been trafficking their organs and all types of stuff for forever, like they do everybody else. And what else is it? It was something else he said. Oh yeah, one of his first viral clips is supposedly him running around saying free Hong Kong, but I don't remember ever hearing about that. But of course, I mean, you're not going to see everything, but like, I don't know. And that's how it is with industry plants. They come out of nowhere. You don't know who they are, who their parents are, and they're just all of a sudden famous. But really, this is a process of private schools, Freemasonry, bloodlines, even him having connections. There's even there's a video that's like about 20 minutes long of him interviewing a rabbi about the tunnels under New York. And he's arguing with the dude, but he is one of these people. So it's kind of like, what in the world? Obviously, he's not one of the Swedish, Irish, and German ones like the rabbi was who had orange hair. He's obviously one of the like, I would say more Russian Turk type ones. He definitely looks a little different than the usual. And he totally looks different than these Israelis he's talking to that look more so Arab or Palestinian mix. Because Palestinians aren't actually Arabs. Arabs are Ishmaelites. Palestinians are Canaanites, which were the people who were originally in the land before the real Yasharael took over. Well, took the land back anyways. Because really how it went is that when the world was created, different tribes already had their set places they were supposed to be at, but people ended up doing what they wanted to do, which is why a lot of things started to go left. Although a lot of the Canaanites that were taken out by true Yasharael weren't even the human ones, they were the Nephilim giant mixes. So there's that. But yeah, so Palestinians aren't Arabs. The Arabs did conquer like a lot of well, honestly, they conquered the whole now called quote unquote Middle East and Africa, or what's left of Africa. But yeah, so the free Hong Kong, free Palestine, him sometimes acting like he's against human trafficking, like he's not one of these people. And like I said, and like I say all the time, there's Swedish, Irish, German, French, Turkish, Russian, Ukrainian, British. So there's different variations. He's definitely not the one that you're usually used to seeing and having pushed down your throat. But, yeah, it's just like, I don't know what else to say about it. People just eat this type of content up because, quote unquote, he's a smart kid that sees the issue in women. He's an exploited kid who's honestly talking about a lot of situations with people he shouldn't be around anyways. And I'm trying to think of what else I could say. Oh yeah, that one clip that went really viral where he was like, me and my friends, we go to the park and we ride rides. Now he was talking about women that are just something to play with and are like messed up or whatever. But there's so much I could say about that. It's like just traumatized people getting with each other and people attracting what they are, what they feel like they deserve, and pretty much people get with who they choose is like the point at the end of the day. And one example I've used before is a comment that I've seen somewhere, which is a good summary of this before I go on a 19-hour rant. This guy was like, I used to make jokes about how I would use broken women and how easy they were until eventually God healed me and helped me see that I was just as broken as the women that I was using. And yeah, that's how it is. You pretty much get with what you are, what's similar to you, or what you feel like you deserve. A lot of people, it seems like they're settling for something. Also, dating in the modern world is pretty much just prostitution. It's getting with somebody for a place to stay, emotional support, a car, different things like that. But still, at the end of the day, he shouldn't even really be talking about that type of stuff. And I mean, I know people are going to be like, I'm acting like, I don't know, teenagers don't date people or stuff. That's not what I'm trying to do. In fact, I'm very against that type of rhetoric. And even, well, honestly, I'm against a lot of ageism. But the issue is, he's being exploited to make these type of sexual videos with quote-unquote managers and bodyguards that really seem to be handlers, if you ask me. And it's like, I mean, if you go to the park and you ride rides and you're doing the same stuff they're doing, but also, what do you mean you and your friends? Because, like, when you're always around a whole bunch of 50 and 40-year-old men, and you're saying, me and my friends, we go to the park and we ride rides, like, that could mean a lot of things that don't sound good. Well, really, I mean, aren't good. But that's how the industry is, though. So it's like, when he says that, what does he really mean? But of course it's all staged, but I know how the industry is, so I don't like it. And I already know, like, how these influencer kid situations go. It even gives me Danielle Bergoli vibes, which, of course, she's in the bloodline. So is Vicky, just to throw that in there. And of course, I'm never saying this for people to bash people. Like I said in the video I made, I think this was on the TikTok about how they're in the bloodline. This isn't something that people choose. Their situations are horrible, and I'm not saying this to make fun of them or to blame them for anything ever. But I'm just saying, especially as somebody who's met these people and sees how brainwashed they are and how, like, some of them really believe they're the people. They've been running from their family their whole life because they SRA trafficked them, if I can even say all that. Just horrible situations. Like, I've never met one that isn't constantly running or isn't, like, being dragged into systems over and over again to be tortured. And how he's always walking around with his managers reminds me of Danielle Bergoli and her managers and bodyguards, quote unquote. Because the only person she really needed to be guarded from was the industry, her family, and the bodyguards themselves, who of course were essaying her. And like, even watching the videos with them, of course they're going to be weird. And since I know how the industry is, and everybody should know how the industry is by now, I never trusted any of those people anyways. But it's like, I don't even see the point of really having bodyguards. But anywho, it's just like really weird. Why walk around with managers? Like, where are your parents at? Then there's videos about him quote unquote trolling and somehow finding Kai Cenat and what's that other dude? I Show Speed, other people, and it's like, how do you just find somebody? The industry is all connected, and we already should know since the whole Logan Paul situation, or Paul brothers, that YouTubers have been selling their soul a lot since 2016. It's become more common. And I don't know about Kai Cenat, but I Show Speed had a bad situation Of course, he doesn't talk about it, but like the things that were shown on live were bad. And I feel like 9 out of 10 he's in the Prince Hall family, so I don't know, but probably most likely, because that's how these situations usually go for industry plants. And so then there's this. I seen this on another video that's completely unrelated, but everybody should know why this is right here.